The reason you've lost the 16th safest seat that the party enjoyed is because people want change. The change they want is you out of power. You take from this. If you can't hold your 16th safest seat, you're in a world of pain, aren't you?
I don't accept that, Nick. And as I said, incumbent governments tend not to do well in by-elections. But we are starting to deliver the change that people voted for last July. It takes time, and we know we need to go further and faster.
The question cuts to the heart of Labour's problem. Asterisk. What is reform offering that you're not? Asterisk. Ellie Reeves dodge. Once again, she falls back on the familiar. Talking points, times change, takes time. The plan for change, national wage rises, shorter waiting lists. Asterisk. It's the same script, the same slogans, repeated without conviction. But what she doesn't do is answer the question. Because the uncomfortable truth is this: Labour still can't articulate why so many voters are drifting toward reform. Is it the party's tougher line on immigration, its rejection of establishment politics, its blunt, populist message that speaks to disillusioned working-class communities? Whatever the reason, Reeves doesn't even attempt to engage with it. That silence speaks volumes. As the interviewer notes, Reform now has 5 MPs, a symbolic but significant foothold, and Labour's failure to recognise or respond to their growing appeal makes the party look *** complacent, defensive, and dangerously out of touch ***. If you can't even define what your opponent stands for, how can you hope to defeat them?
Keir Starmer was missing in action. You say he was at the Vatican. Now, I understand he had to attend the Pope's funeral. People in Runcorn might be a little bit offended to think that the leader couldn't find the time to go and speak to them. But the most important thing is, to what extent is the Labour Party actually listening to voters when they're saying to them, look, 11,000 small boats came to this country unchecked. 11,000 people came to this country on small boats, unchecked. Immigration is out of control. Winter fuel cap is a disaster affecting millions of people, and you've done nothing about it. That's why you are in a situation now where this by-election, 6 votes may have made the difference, but ultimately this is the overturning of a massive Labour majority.
Labour vowed to crush the smuggling gangs once and for all. They scrapped the Conservatives' Rwanda plan, dismissing it as nothing more than political theatre, and in its place granted police new anti-terror powers to tackle the criminal networks directly. On paper, it sounds decisive, tough, pragmatic. But then comes the uncomfortable question times what impact is it actually having? Asterisk. The numbers tell a damning story. Asterisk. Illegal crossings are higher than ever. Asterisk. Despite the bold rhetoric and sweeping new powers, the crisis on Britain's borders continues to escalate. It exposes a deeper truth, a widening gap between what the government says, and what's really happening, on the ground. So, are these anti-terror powers truly delivering results? Or is this just another performance of political toughness, strong words masking weak outcomes? Because until the boats stop and the smuggling rings are dismantled, it's hard to call this progress. Right now, the evidence suggests the problem isn't being solved. It's getting worse,
Government last July, we inherited a mess. The public finances were a mess.
I'm sorry, I hate to interrupt you. We have a limited amount of time. I have heard this from senior ministers throughout the Labour Party. I know you say you have inherited a mess, but the fact is you've made decisions. And it's those decisions that you have made, such as cutting winter fuel, which went against what people thought you were doing, which is now affecting people's trust, Labour voters' trust in the party.
Change takes time, says Ellie Reeves, a phrase she repeats like a reflex. She insists Labour is delivering through our plan for change, pointing to the national wage increase and gradual reductions in NHS waiting lists. But even she concedes the public isn't feeling the benefits yet, promising Labour will go further and faster. It's a familiar defence, one that reveals more than it hides. When the interviewer presses her, Noting that Times Reform UK asterisk, with just a handful of MPs, now commands trust in areas Labour once dominated, Reeves circles back to the same refrain. Asterisk change takes time. Asterisk. But time is the one thing this government is running out of. Losing what was once your asterisk 16th safest seat asterisk isn't a minor setback, it's a political alarm bell. Voters aren't simply restless, they're losing faith. And when Reeves is confronted with that reality, told bluntly, asterisk, if you can't hold your 16th safest seat, you're in a world of pain, asterisk, she deflects yet again. This mantra of patience now sounds less like reassurance and more like avoidance. Because at some point, change takes time becomes change isn't coming. And when that moment arrives, impatience doesn't fade, it turns into rebellion at the ballot box.
And winter fuel was a tough decision. But just last month, pensioners got more money in their pockets, up to £470, because of our commitment to the triple lock, something that the Tories have cast into doubt just this week. So, you know, pensioners are better off because of that triple lock. We have had to take those tough decisions. We're putting money into the NHS, waiting lists down 6 months in a row because of the investment that we've put in. But we know we need to go do more. We know we need to go further and faster.
Labour's decision to cut the winter fuel payment, a tough call, as Rachel Reeves puts it, is quickly followed by a familiar pivot. She points to the £470 pension boost under the triple lock, claiming it's proof Labour stands by pensioners where the Tories once faltered. It sounds reassuring on the surface. But let's look deeper. Does a one-off increase really outweigh the fear and hardship caused by stripping away winter fuel support, especially as energy prices remain painfully high? For many, it feels less like relief and more like a political sleight of hand, taking with one hand, giving back with the other, and hoping the public won't notice the difference. Are pensioners truly better off, or is this just creative accounting designed to mask the impact of unpopular cuts? And when Reeves boasts that NHS waiting lists are down for 6 months straight, even she concedes they remain far too high. Progress, perhaps, but nowhere near the victory Labour wants you to think it is.
Change takes time, and we're beginning through our plan for change to make those changes, like the national minimum wage, like getting waiting lists out. We know that people aren't feeling the full effects of that yet, and we want to go further and faster. You know, there are still too many people on waiting lists. We want to get them down further.
Ellie Reeves, I do understand what you're saying, but what I would say is that Reform has 5 MPs now. Labour has the majority, a significant majority. So Reform is a much smaller voice. Yet there are voters in Runcorn and Helmsby who believe Reform, with just 4, now 5 MPs, will do a better job than Labour with the majority.
And here it comes, the classic political deflection. We inherited a mess. Ellie Reeves repeats the familiar line about broken public finances when Labour took office last July. But let's be honest, that excuse is wearing thin. Governing is difficult, yes, but voters aren't naive. They know this government has had months to act, and the decisions being made now are entirely their own. Take the winter fuel allowance, cut a decision that hit many of Labour's own supporters hardest. It wasn't forced on them, it was chosen. And that choice cost them trust. You can't keep blaming your predecessors forever, not when your policies are causing real hardship today. So the question is, how many times can Labour reach for the same excuse before the public stops listening? At what point does responsibility finally land where it belongs with those in charge now?
I think they've also now given up on Labour with the promises to smash the gangs, the removal of the Rwanda scheme, no intention at all to reform the ECHR.
Well, the Conservatives' Rwanda gimmick cost £700 million of taxpayers' money and resulted in only 4 volunteers going to Rwanda. Instead, we are getting on with going after the criminal gangs, giving the police anti-terrorism powers to go after those gangs. So smashing the gangs, but also one of the things that happened under the Conservative government was a complete collapse in returns.
Yeah, you list all that. Sounds great. What impact is it having? We're having more illegal immigrants than ever before.
So why did Labour really lose? The interviewer points to Starmer's absence, but the truth runs far deeper than one man missing from the campaign trail. Across the country, people are shouting about real issues that Westminster continues to ignore. More than 11,000 migrants have arrived on small boats this year, unchecked. Voters see borders in chaos and leadership nowhere to be found. Then there's the winter fuel payment scandal, pensioners left to choose between heating and eating. These aren't abstract policy debates. They're kitchen table crises, felt in every cold home and struggling household. And what's Labour's response? According to many voters we've spoken to, silence. They feel dismissed, invisible, their frustrations brushed aside while politicians chase headlines and photo ops. Is it any surprise, then, that voters are turning elsewhere? How long can Labour afford to ignore these warnings before the public tunes them out entirely? Before we continue, if you find this analysis insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It helps us bring you more stories the mainstream won't touch. Now, let's get back to it.
Reform's offering something you're not offering. What is it?
Well, change takes time, and we're beginning through our plan for change to make those changes, like the national minimum wage, like getting waiting lists out. We know that people aren't feeling the full effects of that yet, and we want to go further and faster. You know, there are still too many people on waiting lists. We want to get them down even further.
Ellie Reeves, I do understand what you're saying, but what I would say is that Reform has 5 MPs now. Labour has the majority, a significant majority. So Reform is a much smaller voice. Yet there are voters in Runcorn and Helmsby who believe Reform, with just 4, now 5 MPs, will do a better job than Labour with the majority. What does that say to you?
You know, when we came into government in July, we found that the country's finances were in a far worse state than we knew. Public services on their knees as well. So we had to make tough and difficult decisions.
6 votes. That's all it took to bring down what was once a Labour stronghold, their 16th safest seat in the entire country. Gone overnight. What was supposed to be secure turned into a symbol of rebellion. The question is, why? The answer reveals a government completely detached from the people it claims to serve. Behind the polished statements and empty promises lies a deep frustration, a sense of betrayal running through communities long ignored by Westminster. From the outrage over scrapped winter fuel payments to the failure to secure Britain's borders, anger is spreading fast. And yet, the establishment responds with excuses, blaming circumstances, predecessors, anyone but themselves. They call it tough decisions. Voters call it neglect. Meanwhile, challengers like Reform UK are capitalising on that disillusionment, giving voice to those who've had enough. In this report, we cut through the spin to uncover what really happened and why the political elite are desperate to keep this story buried.
Well, look, Runcorn wasn't the only election that took place yesterday. And if you look at the West of England combined authority, well, look at the mayoral contests that have taken place. We've held the West of England combined authority. We've held the Doncaster mayor, the North Tyneside mayor.
Quite close in some of those, though, Ellie. You must allow that. It was quite close.
Well, I don't think we should forget that we did hold those mayoral